All right, so now we have our roadmap ready to go. We know what we want our block to look like overall. And remember, you can have some notes on like where something's just going to be a background treatment. It doesn't have to be totally filled, but the important part you want there, the things you don't want to duplicate in a mirror image. Because when we print it, remember, it's going to be a mirror image. So we actually, on our lino cut, on our lino, we want our design to be facing the opposite way. So my creature is going to be facing this way as I carve, but when I print, it'll be right back the appropriate way. To get it there, what we're going to do is a graphite transfer, and we're going to make our own carbon paper. If you can buy carbon paper at the store, but what we're going to do is we're just going to use one of our nice heavyweight ebony pencils. Hold it on the side, you'll get a nice big mark that way, and it'll be fast and efficient. And I'm going to scribble around the whole thing. So hold on for a second. All right, so now we have it all covered, anywhere that I'm gonna need to press on the back. So I'm gonna keep these kind of together like a sew. If you wanna tape it, you can always tape it, so it doesn't move around on you. And now I'm going to flip it onto my stained lino. Remember, we stained the lino red so that when we carve, we see that tan color poking through, and it's easier for us to decide what's next. Now remember, we really just need a road map right now. So what's going to happen, and I'll show you the beginning of it. I showed another student this part, so I'm just going to retrace these lines real fast. When I go over the lines, and you can use, doesn't matter if it's a pencil or a pen, but definitely something with a nice fine and sharp point. So like if my pencil lead runs out, I could actually just use the metal part of my mechanical pencil and all would be well, because it's really just about the pressure. I'm tracing the back, and as I trace on it, the graphite that is on my tracing paper is going to transfer to my lino. And I want to trace anything that I'm not interested in free carving or freehanding or drawing again. So if I want to have these hatch lines here, I thought about them, they're facing how I want, I'm going to trace them if that's the case. If there's something that's not 100% necessary or you don't like and you want to adjust it in the process of carving, you don't necessarily need to trace it. So just so you have a sneak peek of what's going to happen, there it is, it's starting to show up. I'm going to continue on with what I'm doing. Try not to move this, because if it moves, you'll be sad. You won't be able to line it back up again. I'm going to speed it up. So there we go. I traced the back. Remember, I was just going over where the Sharpie lines bled through. I know I'm going to free carve this area, so I didn't trace all of those things. I've traced enough, and because I used the tissue paper or with the graphite on it, or use a carbon paper that you can buy at the store, my original design is pretty straightforward and clear still, so I can refer to that as I work. And you can see the lines transferred, and I am now ready to carve, facing the appropriate way, the mirror image, so that my print ends up like my original. There is one final step before we start carving, and that is to prevent smudging. So you can kind of see here how it started to smudge a bit. That's because when you use graphite transfers and not like a true carbon paper product, it can smudge, just like graphite in a drawing can smudge. So I'm gonna go over everything with a fine point pen. I'm not gonna press hard because I don't want to dent the lino, but I want my lines to stay. So I'm going to go over my lines, and that will be the last thing I do before I carve.